Hello, everybody. John Maddox, Brian Moss, Larry Marley from a very warm and humid Davis Wade Stadium, Scott Field, on the campus of Mississippi State, as the Tigers get set to take on the Bulldogs here coming up in about an hour and a half. And Brian, I just wanted to get a couple thoughts for you, maybe a couple keys to the game.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is it can be a very close game. I feel the Tigers. When you take a look at the depth chart, we talked about it before in our matchup podcast before our very last one. I know it's Memphis is a young team. 59% of the depth chart is redshirt sophomores or lower. But keys to the game for me, it's really going to come down to, can the Memphis offensive line, can they block? Really, Memphis is really going to need that offensive line to step up to have any type of success today. Defensively, keys to the game for me defensively is just, I know last year we said a lot, bend don't break, but this year,
I got you guys now. I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you. And then, for this year, the defense, I really want to see some pressure on the quarterbacks. We talked about that before as well. So for me, both lines need to produce, offensive and defensive lines. Those are my keys.
Larry, you're down at Southern Miss, Caroline's first marching band performance as a member of the Golden Eagles down there. But what are your couple keys to the Memphis game real quick before we let you go? And I don't know if Larry can hear us. He dropped off. So it's kind of loud everywhere. For me, Brian, I think you bring up a good point. It's Memphis has to establish a bit of a running game to keep that Mississippi State offense on the sidelines. And of course, that does come back to line play a little bit. But it's going to be up to the backs. It's going to be up to Brandon Thomas and Jay Ducker and Asa Martin. So we're going to be. We're going to have to stay on the field, and that means third downs. And let's try Larry again and get his keys to the game if Larry can actually hear me. Nope, Larry's got nothing. Larry's in a kind of a dead spot down at M.M. Roberts Stadium there in Southern Miss. And so I don't think he's going to be able to really talk with us. But, Brian, the other key for me is special teams, right? Like being able, to score points. We saw it today for East Carolina. East Carolina scores a touchdown, 49 seconds left, misses the extra point, or 2 minutes left, misses the extra point, gets the ball back, and suddenly they just can't. Then they miss a 41-yard field goal. So, Chris Howard, this will be his first performance, but he's been here before. He knows what it's like to kick in really loud stadiums. So, I just think that those are kind of the two things. Memphis is going to have to run the football, and Memphis is going to have to get, when they get chances on special teams, they're going to have to take them. This is going to be one of the loudest places Seth Hennigan has ever played in. So it's going to be important, I think, for Memphis to control their emotions a little bit and try to keep themselves kind of under wraps.
Yeah, and Memphis hasn't lost an opening game since when? Do you know?
2011.
2013 against Duke, the 28-14 loss. Yeah, so 9 years, and that was the last time that Memphis ever had a losing record too, during that season. So there's a lot on the line on this game. It would be the first losing record, in a season, any point in the season, in 9 years. But to me, Seth Hennigan. I really want to see him step up, be more mature and more decisive this year. Because a lot last year, and I mean, he's talked about that. He feels a little bit more comfortable this year, but I want to see him run more because he has the ability to pick up and go. But last year he was a little hesitant. I think that's where this year will come into that and come into his own. But if he can pick up some yardage on the run, I think that'll open up things for the Memphis offense.
Yeah, because as you said, late in the year last year, that's exactly what started happening. Seth got a lot more confident. He pulled the ball down faster. Uh, he made decisions on, made pretty good decisions on when to take off and when to kind of just throw it into the third row. But this is going to be a big test for him from a crowd perspective. He was injured at the UCF game last year, so he didn't really get to experience that. But I'm just very curious how it's gonna shape up. And one thing I will say is Memphis has nothing to lose, right?
That's right.
Nobody is expecting them to win. None of us predicted them to win. The odds makers don't predict them to win, so they can just come down here and play loose and let whatever happen. And then if you come out of here with a win, great. If not, keep everybody healthy to go take on a Navy team that just looked atrocious today.
They looked awful.
In a 14-7 loss to Delaware. They turned it over 3 times and lost it on downs one time. And, it just seemed like they were running into each other every play. But we'll talk more about that on Tuesday night. But the business at hand is Mississippi State and the Tigers coming up at 6:30 on ESPNU. Brian, has your thought process changed for the outcome of the game?
Well, I wanted to check with you because I'm looking at, I always look at, what's the Silverfield's record and, the temperature, game times. So this is going to be an evening game or considered a night game, 5 p.m. kickoff or later. Silverfield is 7-3 in these games. So he does well in night games. Temperature wise, what's the temperature there? It's still in the 80s or did it creep down into the 70s?
It is 80. It is 84 degrees with 76% humidity. I'm going to say that's probably a heat index around 90, 91.
Yeah, so he's 3-3 when game time temperatures are in the 80s, 4-3 when it dips into the 70s. So I mean, he's battling 500 right there, in the 80s. I go back and forth because the rain seems to be pushing off, later and later. So this game may, be interrupted if there's a thunderstorm in the middle of the game. So that could help Memphis depending on the score and the situation. So we'll just, obviously we'll have to wait and see. But I still think Memphis can win. But as of right now, I'm still picking Mississippi State 31-28.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the start of the game and State jumping out to a lead and Memphis trying to claw their way back in it. But I'm still around 35-21, somewhere in that ballpark. But you're right. I mean, Memphis can win if they come out. It's a disadvantage in some ways, but it's an advantage. We have 2 brand new coordinators.
Yes.
So you don't have a lot of tape on what they want to do. You don't have a lot of idea of what they like in certain. You don't know how much leeway Coach Silverfield's going to give them in their very first game. So, a lot of the mystery is on the Mississippi State side trying to figure out. But what Memphis can't do is they can't come out 3 and out and punt. Mississippi State scores, they get it back, they fumble. Mississippi State scores. Like that's the way Memphis loses the game. The Tigers cannot win this game in the first quarter, but they can certainly lose it in the first quarter.
Yeah, and I think it's important for Memphis, the offense, if they play like they did last year, meaning the same look or the same terminology, I think that will hurt Memphis. Because that's what Mississippi State can. I mean, they have something to rely on. Oh, this is what they did last year in this situation. So for me, I hope Tim Cramsey and Ryan Silverfield dialed some of this new playbook. Just go ahead and roll it out right away. I know there's some schools of thought that this is not a conference game, so let's play a little vanilla. To me, no, this is a big game. This could be a statement game for Memphis. Just roll it out. Let's see some new stuff. Catch them off guard.
You've got both ways. You've got kids from this part of Mississippi on the Memphis roster, and a few kids from Memphis on the Mississippi State roster. And these are 2 programs that are. I mean, it's dead 2.5 hours apart. No matter which way you drive, so they're close. Some of these kids grew up together. So it's an important game for bragging rights. A lot of state alumni in Memphis. One of the biggest alumni chapters in the country is in Memphis. This is a good, healthy rivalry. Let's hope it stays that way. This is one game I like on the schedule. Always
me
enjoy
too.
playing Mississippi State. Really nice stadium here. Like I said, it's been 25 years since I've been here. The last time I was here, you couldn't walk all the way around. Like there was no end zone. So you had to, if you were on one side, you were there for the entire game. But now they've connected it. Beautiful new scoreboard and just a really nice SEC level facility here. But that's going to wrap it up for us. Just wanted to jump on for a few minutes, get some last minute keys. So it's Mississippi State and Memphis coming your way at 6:30 on ESPNU. I will be on the Twitter account tonight, as will Brian, and we will keep you updated throughout the game. So thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to everybody on Tuesday night for Tigers Tonight.